Hi, everybody. We're back with another episode. It's your two big sisters. I'm Sukhmani.
And I'm Elizabeth. And following up on our previous episode, Suk, I was wondering, how do you actually chase your big dreams while still staying true to yourself?
Yeah. This is actually a very timely question. I was actually just saying this to Liz. And reason being is because I was just in Toronto. And if you don't know, that's exactly where Liz and I met. That's where we went to school. And at least for me, that's kind of where I felt like I really grew into myself in pretty much all aspects. And I was sitting there. I was actually at my dad's house, and I was reflecting on all that has happened post graduation, but also just who I've become since an 18-year-old girl walked in there. And the three things that really stuck with me, I guess four, were authenticity. I try to practice authenticity, and I can't say it happens 100% of the time, but I think that as I've learned to stay true to myself, whether that be in the things that I pursue, put passion, energy into, the people that I put effort and also energy into, but also my goals, I want them to reflect me. I find that I've found actually that when I've done the opposite and I've done it for, I guess, a certain perception or expectation, they don't really mirror who I want to be. The people aren't the people I want to surround myself with. And overall, I just feel unhappy. I almost feel like that sparkle that's within me is dull. And once I started to just realize, do it because I want to do it, a lot of things have come more naturally to me. Another thing that is huge in my books, and I've always said this to Liz, is practice gratitude. Genuinely speaking, scientifically, you cannot be stressed, anxious, or depressed if you were practicing gratitude. And I think Toronto this weekend, I mean, I always reflect on it, but this weekend in particular, I felt an immense sense of overwhelming gratitude. I never want to forget the people throughout all of my life, whether it be childhood, college, even this post grad life of mine. I never forget the lessons and the experiences that have shaped me. I think realizing that everything, whether it be good or bad, has gotten you to this exact moment, and it would not be possible for both the good, the bad, the meh, the whatever. They remind you that you are who you are, and like why I'm able to chase these dreams that I'm going for. Like I needed these moments to happen. But also, lastly, and a big one that I feel like is just core to like my family and like who I am, is always paying it forward. Success is not about reaching the top or being the best of the best. It's also about lifting others as you go. And whether that be your friends, your classmates, somebody you see struggling on the street. It's about helping people and making sure that the energy that has been, put into you by others is what you're putting back out, because that's just how the world works. It's a rippling effect of coexisting. So, I know I just rambled on that, but I think that those three pillars are the foundation of what growth means to me and how chasing my dreams makes things meaningful for me. But I think that if not for those, they would feel empty. So,
That was very beautifully said. And I think for me, I resonate with a lot of that. But also, I think something that I always focus on is being able to pivot and making sure that your growth follows your dreams and that your dreams follow your growth. And so being able to be like, okay, this isn't for me anymore. I don't necessarily want this after figuring that out, but giving everything like a true fair shot. So not just dumping things, after a week because it becomes too hard or
yeah,
you realize there's way more hurdles than you thought there would be. After you've given it a fair shot and you realize, okay, this doesn't actually align with who I am as a person, then being able to pivot, but also being able to come back to the same things. For example, something that we kind of talked about in the previous episode is writing. And so something that I've always wanted to do is write, but I kind of gave that up during university because I was very busy and doing a bunch of other things. And now that I have more time on my hands, I think that this is the perfect opportunity to come back to something that gave me so much light and hope in my life, and just being able to accept the fact that there are things that I thought I liked and then I didn't like and then I still do like, and just being
yeah.
very flexible with it as a whole.
That that's actually something I read in a book of mine. Not that I wrote, but something that I just recently read. It was called The Lucky Break by Jacqueline Westlake. And obviously like the whole premise is this 30-year-old, just keep it short and brief, her life changes. And it's because she wanted it to. But somebody that was used to being rigid and following whatever she laid out for herself maybe 20 years ago. And it was interesting because after reading it, I really sat there and I was like, I want to be like the main character. Her name was Eliza, and I want to be like Eliza because despite it being scary and taking the hard route, she was so afraid of change, and that was due to trauma and like things happening to her beforehand. But it's okay for your life to start over. That doesn't mean just because you're 30 years old, you're going to take another 30 years to get to a similar point. No, like your life can start over in like a matter of 5 months, and then you can feel so fulfilled, but you weren't for the last 30. So I think, like you said, pivoting is important, staying true to yourself, and just allowing things as they play out. Like it's so silly, but truthfully.
Yeah, I think that even something that I'm thinking about as an example is you and I both understand this, but we both switched our majors so many times during university. And just even
Yes.
allowing ourselves to switch something as maybe doesn't seem as minor to others, but it seems very minor to me in the grand scheme of things. Just
100%.
being able to have that flexibility, I think, truly shows who we are as people, and just being like, okay, I tried that even though I've taken X amount of courses towards this thing that I thought would create this one path for me. I'm okay with switching it and I'm okay with starting over because at the end of the day, that thing's already happened. I'd rather just be happy in the next few steps that I take rather than be stuck in the same thing. And also, if you are in a very rigid path, that's also okay. I think just understanding and being always aware of the choices that you're making, not because you think they're the right ones, but because you truly want to do those things.
Yeah. Big echo over here. I think that also while you were saying this kind of took me back to something that you had said when you were sharing something that you stay close and true to yourself with was you want to make sure that your dreams follow as you're growing and that when you're growing your dreams are old like they're just
Yeah.
symbiotic. And I think that's important because people don't realize the growth that you have in like a month is insane and so on forth in years. You can't chase a dream because past you wanted it. You have to do it because of who you are now. It's when you have, I don't know, an old shirt, you grow. Sometimes it doesn't fit the same way it used to, but why would you try to force it to stay because it once fit, it once looked good, or it's your body's changing, you're changing, mentally you're changing, the boxes you're in, the rooms you're in, like everything is changing. So like you just said, be aware of that and don't try to shrink yourself or put a shirt on that doesn't fit if it really doesn't. Find a new one.
I really, really like that metaphor. I never thought of it that way. But yeah, absolutely. Your mentality and your mindset changes on a day-to-day basis, on a year-to-year basis. And so just keeping up with that and just allowing yourself to trial and error different things, I could give you the absolute most amount of peace because also trying something and knowing that it doesn't work for you just kind of crosses that off your checklist. And at least there's one less thing that you're 100% certain you do not want to do. And I think there is just as much value in that than finding the right thing.
1,000% exploration, I feel like, is where it's at. You won't know unless you really give yourself a shot, and
Yep.
that's through experiences through the right people. It's just being true to yourself, honestly, I found is almost like a magnet. It attracts like the things that are right for you in that moment, and who's to say that they will always be, but at least you get to give it a fair shot, and through the experience you learn things. And yeah, everything you've said I've aligned with like 100%, so I have nothing else to add to that.
I don't think I have anything else either.
Okay, well, guys, that's your two big sisters. That's another episode, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.